Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another expert interview on nonprofit productive. I'm Mike St. Pierre, your host, and our expert guest today is from Boardspace. Her name is Pat Crosscomb, and we're delighted to welcome you, Pat, to the show.
Thanks, Mike. I'm delighted to be here with you.
So, Pat, tell us first of all about you. You're the expert behind Boardspace. How did this come to be? Were you a nonprofit leader yourself? Were you frustrated with how boards operate? Are you a technologist? So give us a little bit of the origin story.
I was very frustrated how my board worked. Not a nonprofit board. Well, yes, a nonprofit board, but a condo board. And when I bought my first home, I bought into a condo with issues. I volunteered to get on the board. I spent a crazy busy 5 years trying to sort out all the issues. A board of 3. All of this, we were using our Gmail accounts. So not the best way to manage a board at all. I can guarantee that. It made me so frustrated going through the 5,000 emails, which I eventually collected within this board account, and literally unable to find anything. So I finally got off the board, exhausted at trying to sort out all the issues, but I was determined, absolutely determined, that there had to be a better way, an easier way, a more effective way that would allow folks like condo boards and homeowner association boards to do a better job, an easier job, and a faster job at looking after their boards. As soon as I set off on this journey, I continued to talk with lots of other board members. I realized that nonprofits and charities had many of the same issues, not all, little different environment, of course, but many nonprofits also had the same need for a system that would allow them to easily and effectively look after their board of directors. So we expanded to include nonprofits and charities, as well as cooperatives. I actually have a credit union using Boardspace as well. So any volunteer board of directors is really my target market.
Pat, is that the way most boards operate, that kind of scattered back and forth, dozens of emails? In your experience, is that how most boards operate?
Well, I can't guarantee that all boards operate like that, but many rely on emailing documents to each other. There's always a central point person. Of course, with nonprofits, there'll be an executive director or a CEO and an administrative assistant, perhaps, who are looking after that stuff. And they may have a basic portal for documents or a SharePoint or something like that. Or they're simply emailing everything. With condo boards, typically they're not using anything at all, simply their email accounts. And as I think we both know, you can make it work if you have to, but 2 years of COVID have told us, we have certainly learned that that's not the most effective way of doing things.
So for a skeptic out there who's saying, but that's just how it is, our organization just likes email, it's just how we roll, what would you say to that?
What would I say? I would say that why not make your life easier? You're already super busy. You already have too much to do. And I can probably guarantee that most nonprofits who are dedicated to their jobs will all say, we have a lot to do. We love what we do. We're passionate about what we do. We need to find ways to save time. And likewise, that's the same for your board. Your directors are volunteers. They're not paid to do this job. They do the job because they're passionate about the mission of the organization. And that's the same for condos as well. They have another life. Again, if you want to find ways of saving time, and I would argue doing a better job of being able to find what you're looking for, be able to do a better job in governing, then get on board with Boardspace.
And I think too, I've said this to other executive directors, no one wakes up in the morning thinking about your organization except you. And your board members have busy lives, busy jobs. They're probably running organizations themselves. And so you want to make their work as, I don't want to say easy, but as easy as possible. And if you can save them time, all the better. So Pat, I'm hoping you can give us a little bit of a walkthrough of Boardspace. I'm very, very intrigued by this idea. And I know that I often will remind our board members where they can access their documents for our organization. So let's take a look at Boardspace, and I'm excited to see how it operates.
Okay, so just let me share my screen here with you. Does that look good?
Perfect.
Okay, so you're absolutely right. Being a board member will never be easy. It's hard work, it's tough work, it demands the best of every individual, but it can be certainly made easier, especially on the administrative side. So we developed Boardspace specifically for those busy volunteer directors and their busy administrators like yourself, the ED and the CEO. So when you first log in, you come to what I call the just-in-time page. And what it does is it gives you everything you need to know today in the short term of what's going on with your board. So you'll see it says, welcome Pat Crosscomb, and I have some individual items that are specific for me. So of course, the next meeting, March 17th, coming up. I also have some tasks that have been assigned to me that are now overdue because I haven't got them done yet. And I also have some upcoming events that I need to be aware of. Now, as far as what are the rest of the board up to, it tells me meetings that have taken place in the past. There's a few overdue actions, but these are what other people have been assigned. And it tells me that some meetings have been approved and maybe I'm going to go and review those minutes. But obviously the focus is on my stuff. So I can go look at this task. I can click on it. It takes me to the specific details. I can review it. It was due a long time ago, so I'm badly late on this one. But it can also tell me more about the task. So it's a group task. It's 4 of us assigned to it. I'm not the leader on it. I'm just part of the team. But also specific items can be assigned to specific people. So it's like a mini project management system. It's basic. It's deliberately designed to be basic because, again, few board members and staff people have time to learn a complicated project management package software that gives you Gantt charts and things like this. This is really quite easy and it's very flexible. I can be assigned as the leader. The due date can be postponed because now it needs to be, because obviously I haven't got it, it hasn't been done yet. And the task can be reassigned.
Pat, I'm presuming each board member gets their own login, so their first page is going to be customized for them.
Yes, which is why it's the just-in-time aspect, is that if you log in, you're going to get what you need to do now. Obviously, meetings are common, but your individual actions, task assignments and whatnot will be specific to you. You probably have more than anyone else as the ED.
And comments, does a board member have to log in to see comments, or can it be pushed to them through email as well?
No, the goal is to eliminate as much email as possible and to keep significant information inside of Boardspace where it can be kept for archival purposes and for communicating with each other. So instead of sending email back and forth, within my little project, I can be communicating with my team members inside the comment section.
Okay.
Saving and eliminating emails.
Okay.
Let's go back to that. Sorry, go back to that overview page. So upcoming events, I can go check out my event and I can go check out the list of events. This is anything that's coming up in the future. Reminders about policy reviews, reminders about, you know, we have a spring luncheon every year. And instead of having to remember exactly when we need to start planning, it's set up on an automatic reminder system. A month or 2 months ahead of time, an email is sent and the email simply reminds you of it. Any work and activity will go on inside of Boardspace. So
And
there's
Pat,
a list
can
of,
it, I'm sorry to interrupt, can it sync with Google Calendar, or does a staff member have to put these in manually?
it does not sync with Google Calendar at this point in time.
Okay.
We have ideas to do that in the future, but it's not something we've done at this point in time. Now, the neat stuff about some of the smart features of Boardspace is that in this particular thing, we're going to start reviewing implementation of strategic directions. At some point in time, we're going to need to add this to a board meeting so that we can approve further actions and perhaps allocate budget to it if that's the case. With one click, I can add it to a board meeting. And then it's going to show up on or in my agenda. And then I can also then discuss it further, get approval, get a motion, and follow up with any actions that are necessary. But again, let me come back to my overview page and come to obviously our most important and most frequent activity is our meeting. So let's go and look at the meeting aspect. Now I'm showing you the perspective from the recording secretary as the person who is going to be able to edit and take these minutes. I talk about them being smart minutes because there are lots of dynamic features embedded within the minutes. It's not simply words on a page, like a Word document. It's not simply a matter of I draw up my template that I have saved in Word and then I start typing around it. It's dynamic. So for example, the system knows who is supposed to be in attendance at the meeting. So I take attendance by checking. That's one of the smart features. I don't have to add their names or cut and paste or copy. They're there. Staff are down here. When it comes time to call my meeting to order, I simply click a button and it takes the real time from my system, or it can be added afterwards if I'm not doing the minutes in real time. Some of my boards take their minutes in real time during the meeting. They can be sharing their screen either in a meeting room with others, or everyone can be logged in if the meeting is virtual, and they can be following along with what's going on in the meeting. It just depends. You can do whatever works best for you. My agenda, of course, is set up ahead of time. It's a drag and drop template, so it makes it very easy to reuse a template and customize it for the following meeting. So I'm not starting from scratch, but it's allowing me to very, very quickly customize my agenda for a specific meeting. So the whole idea of the minutes is a little bit different than probably what you're used to. As soon as I create an agenda, or as soon as I create a meeting with an agenda, my minutes are drafted. They follow the agenda that you just set. So here down the left-hand side, you can see these are all links, and I can jump between different items. And then you can see these draft minutes set up each. So say we get into reports, I can add text boxes, I can add motions, I can draft those motions ahead of time. And you'll notice there are drop-down menus that are populated once I take the attendance.
Nice.
They're approved or they're not approved. And then the part that I like the best is that I can also add an action. So on the fly during the meeting, let's get Pat to do something. Well, let's add it here. Once I've added it here, nobody needs to track this anymore. It's all automated. Reminders are sent on a weekly basis. So first thing Monday morning, I and you will get a list of what we have on our to-do list. I'm not sure how many times this has happened to you, but I had board members tell me they would finish their meeting, everybody ran out the door, and everyone had forgotten what they just had said they would do, or they disagreed on due dates or who was doing what. Does that sound familiar to you?
Well, not for my organization, but I can imagine that, yes, many boards that happens.
And even if, say, you have written them all down, does everybody have access to them immediately? You have to send them to them, right? You have them in a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is not accessible to all. Well, a Google spreadsheet would be, but the reminders are not sent, and so on. So also attachments, documents that are going to be read or used during this meeting show up here. And then you can also indicate exactly where in the agenda you will cover this particular document. So no question as to what we're doing in this agenda item, and so on and so forth. So again, smart features, and you can also give people presentation assignments, and you can allocate timing so that you can calculate before your meeting starts roughly how much material we have, and is it reasonable that we can get this done in our hour to 2 hour time limit.
That's great. This is nice.
I'm just going to finish up with a couple of more items, but obviously that was focusing on the minutes. We also have a main document repository, which puts all of the documents including those ones that were assigned to a particular meeting, but they're all in one place. We're using a tagging system to organize documents. Again, the tagging system is custom to your organization. Call items exactly what you want, have as many as you want, but it makes it really fast for, particularly for directors, to zoom in. Let's say you're a brand new director and you know new directors need some orientation, some basic documents to get themselves started. They can log in, there's their new directors package. They click on this link and there's the number of documents that they need to read, probably before their first board meeting.
Nice.
They're also then going to be able to go check at the next meeting that they've been invited to, their first meeting. They'll see the agenda, they'll see things set up, and they can go look at their last board meeting so that they can, on their own, without your help, know exactly what was covered in the last board meeting. So this is definitely designed to be, user-friendly, particularly for directors. Staff, of course, have a more expert knowledge of how their documents are organized and saved, but definitely very user-friendly for finding stuff. There's an advanced search, being able to search by a document name and so on and so forth. We also have e-signatures. Very easy to get those signatures from folks who aren't in the same room at the same time. We make it easy to find everything within your board space, either a motion, an action, a document, and so on and so forth. And then we have a basic notification system. When you want to remind directors it's time to go log into your board space, check your agenda, check out your overdue actions if you have any, familiarize yourself with documents upcoming for a board meeting. And you only have to send one email and you can send it very, very easily from within Boardspace. It's not a two-way conversation because we really don't want that going on. We don't want you to have to turn around and start sending documents. They're all in one place. That is a quick overview of Boardspace.
Very nice. How about pricing, Pat, in terms of either for nonprofits or for other organizations?
So we are a no surprise pricing. So the price that I give at the beginning of the year is the price for that year. It's not dependent on users. It starts at $89 a month. Annual subscriptions get 2 months free, 60-day money back guarantee. And the additions to that price are dependent upon the number of committees, active committees, that are part of that board. So that price goes up incrementally. It's less than the base price.
So if let's say you had 3 to 5 active committees, would that be included in that price or would that be an add-on?
No, that's an add-on.
Okay.
So the only add-on is the committees, but not the number of users, unlimited document storage. So you were never going to get, roaming fees like cell phones charge you for additional documents. It's plenty of space. You'll never use it.
I would think for a board, they would look at this and say, gosh, this looks like such an improvement over what I'm doing. And using it to really maximize its use, they'd want to do it for a few years. So what's been your experience? When an organization shifts over to something like Boardspace, do you recommend, stick with this for 2 years, 3 years, or does it just vary from one nonprofit to the next?
Well, every nonprofit is different, of course, but in general, the toughest moment is getting started. Like every new habit, every new position, everything is like getting started because it's different. And some people just take a little more time to get used to something new. But the 60-day money back guarantee, no one has ever taken me up on it. Mm-hmm. I offer it because I make the assumption that, nothing is going to be right for everyone. And if truly it doesn't work for your board, I will give you your money back. Once boards get past, the first 2 months can be the rockiest, but I now have boards that are 3 years in. It's sticky. It's now a valuable tool, and it's just, nobody thinks twice about Boardspace. It's just there, and that's what we use.
How,
And it
tell
becomes,
us about,
sorry,
I
go
was going to
ahead.
say, yeah, I was going to say, tell us about your team and also just a question about security.
So my developer has built Boardspace from scratch. He lives just down the street from me. So gives me all the control that I need on in terms of adding new stuff, fixing any little problems that come along. And he's a very unusual developer in that he knows a tremendous amount of board governance, which is very unusual. He sometimes challenges me on, can a board do that? So we're still a small team. We're going to grow in the future as more customers come on, but we are, homegrown. I'm very proud to be a Canadian-based, Ottawa-based company with my developer down the road. So no offshoring. As far
And
as
can you give it,
security,
yeah, security?
so yes, security is paramount. We follow best practices in security. We back up data. We enforce gnarly, horrible passwords because those are more difficult to hack. Does make it more challenging for users, but we've now implemented a login without a password system, which does make it much, much more easily for users, particularly board members who might not log in every day and their passwords get misplaced, as happens.
As happens, absolutely. And we'll make sure to put into the comments and the show notes a particular link where folks can get a demo, request a demo, view a pre-recorded demo. There's a webinar and just even an article about why they should be considering board management software. So thanks for that in advance. And if people, before they get that specific link, if they just want to check out Boardspace in general, where should they go?
So they can still go to that page and click on the Boardspace logo, which will take them back to the homepage.
Okay. Pat, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time. I'm excited to test out Boardspace, and I know a lot of other nonprofit productive readers and followers are going to as well. So thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was great to meet you today too.